Well, good morning and thank you. Back and forth. Thank you for having me. I'm going to talk a little bit this morning about some of the healthcare reform and how we can use it to our strategic advantage in HR. You know, rather than getting panicked about all these things that we have to do, there are some opportunities that help us to do our business better. Last year, we implemented phase 3 at ARMC of a comprehensive consumer-driven benefit plan. And as I said, in 2008, we started putting together a whole strategic plan that was going to be long range. We laid out our goals. First of all, we wanted to make sure that we moved the whole thing in kind of as our premiums increased in health benefits and across the board with disability. We needed to be able to do some cost sharing, also some risk sharing with the employees. As everybody here knows, as an employer, things are getting priced about out of sight. We also wanted to assist and train staff in how can they mitigate their own risk as we move risk to them. What I'm showing you is a presentation that we actually did with all 510 staff members, from our pharmacists to our frontline housekeepers. And we went through and gave this, well, I think somewhere around 20 times. And it was fairly well received, and people understood it fairly easily. Something we wanted to do previous to this, we had what we called a without benefits status, that the employees could waive their option to benefits, and in lieu of getting benefits, they would get a 20% premium on their wage. But it was an all or nothing, right? So you couldn't say, well, can you give me 10%? And I just want PTO. No, that didn't work, because the insurance company said, no, we can't let you pick and choose. The healthy people can't opt out. That's not good. Move back to this one. So the healthy people can't opt out, and having the sick people in. Work? Nope. So again, controlling and moving more costs to the users. And then what we wanted to do is, as everybody's heard, the wellness. How do we get wellness strategically into our workforce that will help them have a healthier life, and that will also help us as far as our benefits and as far as our ROI, our return on investment in our people assets. Okay? So we put together a wellness team about 3 years ago, and they meet on a monthly basis. We have a budget that we have set aside close to $40,000 a year to put toward the wellness. And what that was is that has been the savings on our insurance premiums. Since we went to the high deductibles, that we were able to do that. We do have a fitness center, and we also pay toward other fitness centers to get the people interested in the health stuff. We've started a health or weight management course, nutritional information, all of those kind of things to work on it. So going through this, just to give you an idea of how we made it a strategic factor, is we started out with saying, okay, we're going to teach you guys about benefits. How are our premiums determined based on your frequency and your severity of claims? So we talked about full premium. We talked about what's a defined contribution. We moved toward the defined contribution on our disability, short-term and long-term disability. Because last year, when we got our quote for our renewal, we had a 111% increase on our short-term disability, and went, ouch, we can't do that. So we went through, like I said, and talked about it. And then we made this all about them, okay? And we walked through scenarios on what is best for each of them. We chose to use for our wellness criteria and goals was the American Heart Association recommendations. That's what that AHA is up there. So we wanted to show people that here's what nationally is recommended, but we're going to start with gentle requirements. Because it's new, we didn't want people to think it was, unattainable. So we set out that we were going to make these other criteria, and we made each of those criteria worth $10 a month to be applied as a credit toward their health insurance. So we laid it out and said, okay, if you saw each of the previously, you saw each of the criteria with the tobacco, blood pressure, cholesterol, body mass index, fasting, annual flu shot, and initiative for the health assessment. That's what the HRA is there for us. For us in the healthcare field, as you can imagine, flu vaccines are extremely important. And we have probably about 20% of our staff that does not believe in flu vaccines. So to get 100% compliance, the things that you want your staff to do, tie some money to it. It works. Okay, so then we did a little investigation on IRS and regulatory. As the healthcare reform came out, we have been able to use wellness incentives to reduce premium, but something that you should be aware of is that you cannot reduce the premium any more than 20% of the lowest premium, okay? So we had a selection of 3 different health plans. The highest deductible, we had a $4,000, $8,000 deductible for a single employee. The premium was $434. So that was the max that we could use, and then use 20% of that. Came up to $86, right? So when we had 8 criteria, we just rounded it to the $10 per month and said, okay, here's what you can earn. Then we laid out, here is the 2448 high deductible health plan and how this worked for our employees. You can see we listed what the premium was going to be, and then we just gave them examples. If you pass one health initiative, and again, one health initiative, all you had to do was write down, I don't smoke. Right? We made it very easy for the first year. Right? So if you pass 2, and if you passed 4 or 8, here's where your premiums ended up. And again, remember, we were working with the entire staff. So it's like, okay, how can we help them without making them feel stupid, without making them feel like this was not about them? So I said, okay, let's try this. And we're going to walk through an actual scenario. So we had down what our top premium was going to be. And we also moved, previously ARMC had paid 75% of all the health premium, and the employees paid 25%. In this whole comprehensive consumer-driven, we moved that to a 65-35. That helped ARMC control the budgets a little more. But with the wellness initiatives, the employees, those healthy employees, had the opportunity to bring it back down to where it was originally. So I said last year they paid $285. So from one year to the next, they were looking at a 38.6% increase in their piece of health insurance premiums. So then we said, you pass 5 wellness points, right? And we tried to make it, like I said, fairly easy. Anybody that participated got a $10 contribution a month toward their insurance premium. So all they had to do was say, yeah, I'm in. And that was 1 point, okay? So by doing that, they reduced it down to a 21%. And then we had other benefits besides. We wanted to go back and address, okay, what happens with all the miscellaneous things? Something that we hadn't had in the past was for those, like I said, the waiver of without benefit status had always been an all or nothing. And we had a lot of pushback from our healthy employees. They wanted paid time off. They wanted the opportunity to carry short-term disability. But we had that all wrapped up into you either get all benefits or you get 20%. So by doing this, we were able to break it out and attach financial incentives. So if they have and can prove they've got health insurance somewhere else, they get a $200 a month contribution on their paycheck. If they have dental insurance somewhere else or they waive the dental, they get a $10. So overall, it reduced ARMC's financial burden. It shifted the risk and the control more to the employees. So one of the things we had to be really careful of, and I'm fortunate enough to be in a medical center, and if any straight non-medical employer wants to do this, check with a medical center or a clinic where you might be, because there are some HIPAA regulations that what happens when you draw someone's blood and you get their results of their cholesterol. That has to be handled as patient-sensitive information. So you have to be careful with some of that kind of thing. So what we did is we started out, how do they participate? And who was eligible? Anybody that worked over 16 hours. Then it was, how do I participate in the initiatives? We had several sessions that we had people come in. We talked about what the wellness initiatives were going to be. We have had poker walks in the winter. You can do really simple things. In the summertime, we do what we call a poker walk. They walk around like a quarter of a mile block. And we have the CEO is stationed on one corner, and the chief financial officer is stationed on another corner. And our chief patient officer is stationed on another corner. And as the employees walk by, they get 2 cards. By the time they get to the end, the person with the best poker hand wins whatever it might be, a $5 little something, a $15 little something. But it got 80% of our employees out moving. Then it was, what if I don't pass an initiative? Simply, they didn't receive the $10. And if they didn't pass an initiative or didn't want to share with the record keepers, they didn't have to. That, again, is that personal private information, health information. The record keepers happened to be in HR, so we had all of the different statistics, so they were allowed to say, no, I don't want to participate. We had a health fair, and we brought in our lab department, and all of the clinics, not just ARMC, are willing to do that for you as employers. Send in a lab tech for a day, and they just sat and took blood. And then they spent the whole night running the test, and they had all the results ready the next day to find out that we could look at the cholesterol content. We also had some fitness trainers, or physical therapists, or occupational therapists that did BMI and body fat testing. Again, we have the you didn't smoke, those kind of things. This was a sensitive issue. What about the lab results? The lab results could not be sent to HR. They can't be sent to your front desk office administrator. These, again, are protected health information tests. So they have to go to the individual person. If they wanted to get the $10 credit, they had to bring the test into us and say we passed. Several of the employees were concerned, I think, as you can probably imagine, some of the people that work at ARMC prefer not to get health care there. They don't want their coworkers seeing or having access to their medical file. So they were concerned, if I have this done here, does that create a legal medical file? No, it does not. There is something that is called test on demand for laboratory tests and diagnostic x-rays, that it's just a simple test. Here's your results, and no record is created. And then we set all of the employees up and said, be prepared, we're going to keep moving with this. So this year we're adding a few more options. We are strictly going to a full consumer-driven, it's a hybrid cafeteria plan, not technically a cafeteria plan, but having more things in there. I mean, we're doing the long-term disability, we're doing the child care, we're partnering with a local daycare center that will be working with our employees and allow payroll deduction to pay for those things. When we finished, we have done an employee survey, and we had 94% extremely satisfied with the plan. And especially those healthy employees, because in the past, as we have said, your premiums are based on your severity and your frequency when you deal with your health insurance and your disability insurance. And the healthy employees feel like they're subsidizing the unhealthy, because it's the unhealthy who are using all of the services but paying the same premiums. By doing this, they felt that they were getting credit for taking the initiative to have wellness in their life and also bring it home. So, like I said, we've told them this is a 5-year plan. We have just finished up year 4. We're moving into year 5, and we're really excited about it. So that's using healthcare reform to your strategic advantage. Let's see here.